Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll read our school district mission statement. Grounded by our history as one of the oldest publicly supported schools in Wisconsin, Mineral Point School District is the heart of a small community that educates and inspires our students for a bright future in a big world. Okay, it's the September regular meeting. Roll call.
Bergstrom,
Here.
Bush,
Here.
Dunn,
Yes, here.
Harris,
Here.
Eisner,
Here.
Johnston,
Here.
Skelding.
Skelding's been excused. Okay. No recognition, Nick, no recognitions, Mitch?
Don't have any on the agenda.
Okay. For those of you who haven't heard, Mitch was awarded the Rural Schools Administrator of the Year award. So you deserve an applause from.
Very much.
You want to get up here and say anything?
I'm humble and I'm honored. And as I said, it's a community award, you know, the support of the community, the support of the staff, all the work that they're doing. They all play as big a role or more in this. So like I said, I'm very honored and humbled by it. So thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Congrats. Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. We have minutes from the August regular meeting. We had an August 21st special meeting to approve a few hires. We had a quorum at the welcome back meeting for the staff on the 25th. And no action was taken. And then we had a strategic planning work session that evening where we met with Southwest Regional Planning Commission.
There were no committee reports for this month.
No committee reports. And we also have bills payable and credit card statement of activity. So I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole, or we can approve each part individually.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
Second.
Hey, Harris, Bush, any comments or discussion?
Harris,
Yes.
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes. Okay, next we'll go to communications. We'll start with board communications received. Rachel, you're in the usual starting seat if you want to go.
Yeah, I received board communications about from the elementary school. There was a behavior packet that was sent out. I would call it like a PBIS type expectations packet. Just concerns about alignment with our overarching vision of the district and mission in terms of social emotional learning and making sure that all kids are accounted for and what behavior looks like. Other than that, I don't think I had anything else.
Thanks.
I had a call from somebody in town just about wanting to understand our priorities in terms of where we're allocating our resources. So I had a good conversation about that, like where we're at on the board and you know, why certain moves have been made over the last year, you know, for funding different positions and not other ones, et cetera. It was a good conversation. I felt like at the end they understood where we were and respected it.
I didn't have any direct communications, maybe some casual conversations about people being excited about the start of the school year and things off to a good start, but nothing any more formal than that.
Okay.
I had the same conversations that Rachel did around the behavior packet that came out from the elementary school, but that was it.
I received an email. I think we all did, kind of an initial email about the potential of adding a co-op hockey program.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
we probably should send that to one of the, I don't know which committee it belongs in, but figure out if we have questions or formulate some kind of response.
Mitch had told me
Just-
that,
To speak to that, there's a Zoom meeting scheduled for tomorrow afternoon between the 4 school districts and their administrative team to at least kind of start that conversation. I know Barneveld and Mount Horeb have been engaged in other co-ops. So I think it's just very exploratory at this point in time, but I will certainly report back what I hear.
And then a couple fourth grade parents, thankful for the position, just commented a little sooner would have been nice, but then after there was some discussion around the reaction to the scores, which weren't, available to us until a certain point. They just appreciated that we responded to the data that showed that the need was there. So something to just keep in mind in the future if we think that potentially is on our radar. Maybe just begin discussions earlier, but I think the data surprised us all from where it had been to where it ended.
I also had a comment from a fourth grade parent who was basically just kind of, it was initially addressed specifically to Mr. Dahl. It was basically like, why did my kid get moved to the new teacher? And how was that decided? And why did some kids get moved and some kids didn't? And is that really fair? And all of that. So Mr. Dahl did respond to the parent and copied me on that. So I thought that was a reasonable email explanation. I'm not sure the parent was totally satisfied, but that was that. And then I did have another parent reach out to me about the disciplinary expectations handout and so I had asked for a copy of it to review. So I reviewed that and responded back to the parent. And we had a good follow-up conversation this morning. And then lastly, I had a citizen reach out to me with concerns about 5th Street being dangerous or hazardous for kids not being picked up by a school bus because there's no sidewalk. That's a fairly busy street. And, apparently it's a long history behind that, but essentially, can we do anything to either declare 5th Street a hazardous street or, make some accommodations for any students that are having to walk on that street to get to and from school. So I'm in conversation with Mitch in terms of like, what would that process look like? Because I think it needs to be filed with the DPI. I'm not sure if it's from the school district or from law enforcement to declare which streets are dangerous and not dangerous. So to be continued, but I'll be following with that citizen as well on that concern. And that's all I had, I think. We'll go to citizen communications. Did anyone sign up? Angie or who's here? Okay. Anyone online want to speak or? You know who ME is, Mitch? Is that?
I do not.
It's somebody else. Okay, so that person can use the raise a hand icon and you can talk during your public comment period if you'd like. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to items for information and discussion. First is report out of the tentative enrollment for this year.
So right now, this Friday is the official third Friday count. So, sorry, next Friday. Next Friday is the third Friday count. Currently, we're sitting at about 788 students. That's the lovable butts and seats number. 788 students in the buildings. That's down actually 12 students compared to this time last year. But again, I have the official enrollment from that third Friday count at 800 a year ago. We are about 10 students down in the high school, 4 students down in the middle school, but then we're up in the elementary school. So, and again, unofficial numbers. I do know we're getting another student, first part of October from another district, but they won't hit the third Friday count. They'll be captured in the January count. But that's not our number that goes into our revenue limit worksheet. That's a different number based on open enrollments in, outs, all those kinds of things. We don't count any of our open enrolled students in on that revenue sheet. Our summer school number is up from this last summer, so that'll have a positive impact on what that number equals. I'll be working with Danielle. We'll get that number for sure in October when we certify the levy. But right now, the number of students in seats right now is down 12.
The high school being down 10, was that driven by a class size fluctuation or by enrollments out?
We graduated a class of 64 and brought in a class of 52 into the high school.
That
So
explains it.
there's a dozen right there in its own right. So
You said we're up in the elementary school. Do we know
up in
how
the
many?
elementary, I believe it's 5 right now. According to the numbers I have in front of me, it's 5 students.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And then a portion of those are pre-K, and so they're only a part FTE. Right,
Correct.
in terms of our FTE number.
Right. We, based on, if nothing changes between this information and the third Friday count, we have 7 3-year-olds. A year ago, we had 5. So, but that counts for 4 students. And we have 49 4-year-olds last year. We have 46 this year. So you get half of that. So you get a little over half. So you get about 28 students out of that group for the 4K early childhood program. So again, in a good position. I know before school started, Shelby was enrolling students left and right. I think we did bring back some students that had open enrolled out that are now our students. So we're capturing all of the funding that goes with them instead of a third of it. Any open enrolled students that we get, there was an increase in the amount of money we receive for open enrolled students. So that will help us with our revenue sources out through the state. So I'll have a better number. I'll have a more accurate number the closer we get to certifying the levy. But yeah, not this Friday, but the Friday after is the third Friday in September. And that's the official head count for the DPI enrollment numbers.
That's good.
If I look at, what it is converting to full-time student, last year that was 709. And on this sheet, it's 766.
Have to take out, enroll in, out. So I don't have that conversion.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have a more accurate number after that third Friday count.
Okay, next is the summary report from the ad hoc committee for cell phone and social media use.
So I attached it in your summary that I sent out. Mr. Austin, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, so we put together, you can see some of the month by month views and the stuff that's went out there. We still have it built in there until December. So we have the different topics for each month. We're tracking number of unique visitors, how long they're on there. Overall, the committee, I thought, did a really nice job of reviewing cell phone policies, reviewing kind of some of that information that we feel is important to put out there to people. Nothing changed at the middle school and high school, the middle school and elementary as far as cell phone policy goes. The high school, we did make a change and we added in what's called a cell phone holder. If you look back here, one is back there on that board. That's the study hall one. They are shoe racks, so just little pouches. Quite honestly, it's going really well. I've had some kids that come up and they're like, hey, it doesn't actually make the class go faster. It's not there for me. I'm just focused on this. So kids come into a room, put them in there, it's smartwatches, cell phones, earbuds. That was one of the things they like to try to hide was the earbuds. Just, it seems to be going really, really well. And talking with teachers and talking with kids, they're like, yeah, this works. It's not, and that's kind of the talk that I've had with them. It's like, look, we're gonna try this, otherwise we can go the whole other direction, which is know it all. And it seems to be going really, really well. I've been in a lot of different classrooms and it's up in there and not a distraction for them. So I think it's really well. And then if they need it, it's still there. Cause I know I've talked to a bunch of different teachers. Tom Stager in ecology, he goes, sometimes we go outside, we need to take pictures. Well, grab your phone and go out. So they don't have to send back to their locker. It's grab your phone, we're gonna go out, we'll come back in, upload them quick and they're come back. So it's working out really well from my standpoint.
And are they in every classroom then?
Every classroom.
That's great. Cool.
Yep. But we're on some of them we have hung up on the cement wall and some of them are on doors, just depending on your classroom layout, but every classroom.
That was a suggestion that came out of this committee.
That was a suggestion that kind of, and we talked about that. I had brought forward the ASA where they actually had the magnetic pouches, or there's a couple schools that have went just having them. Magnetic pouches would have been a big cost. And this seemed like a very logical step from where we were at and how we were operating. And it seems, like I said, it's just the way to put it away.
You piloted this with some staff last
In
year.
May, we had 4 or 5 different people that used it last May, and it seemed to go really well there.
Brooke, what's the policy at the middle school? Because I know kids, younger and younger are getting cell phones and watches and stuff. So what's the deal down there?
So everybody's joining in the cafeteria. And then at 7:55, when the bell rings and they head down the stairs, cell phones are put away on silence or off and all day. If a teacher sees it, then we take it and then we have steps to follow after that.
Cool.
It's minimal who is trying to use those during the day, and usually after one parent follow through and it doesn't.
Yeah.
The first one. We don't have issues with watches. There's been no reports of people having an issue at the middle school, so we didn't change it. And if we have something that's going on with it, then we can address it then. We also don't have any reports of people using AirPods, so we didn't make a policy. There was nothing that was
Great.
currently.
There wasn't a problem.
So are you saying that kids aren't using earbuds in school or wearing watches, or they are and they're not a distraction?
It's not a distraction. No one has commented that it's been a problem. And then the AirPods, we don't allow the AirPods. Everything is connected into their Chromebook.
The high school watches. Big too, so. But that was the discussion we had with the staff, and that's the direction. Right. Seems to be going.
Are working really well, and it's just something that we communicate, and if something does become great. It also helps for our middle school students to see high schoolers not using it during times. That's been really helpful. In our beginning of the year assembly, we kept them all in there for this first part. The middle schoolers got to hear that it's like what the high schoolers are doing this year. It's not free reign. There are limitations. And so I think kind of there's like a brawl in this kind of feeling. So we just have to do a rest. But it hasn't, I know we're only week 1, but the feeling's been pretty good. Really good.
Go ahead.
You feel like since they're detached from them throughout the day, you're doing less policing at lunchtime? It's less of an
Yeah, I
issue.
have an issue at lunch.
Usually really
And
good.
and lunch we've been, using that lunch anyways, so I think that's been better. Overall, I think it's actually been really good. I had a couple of kids come up to me went home last night, my phone was at 90%. So that's a good thing. But
Have there been any parent complaints? Like, hey, I want my kid to have my phone on them all the time because I want to know how to track them and know where they're at. And be able to call me. No? Okay.
no, haven't had that, but again, they can check them in between classes. They can still, okay, mom or dad sends me a message, I can still send it because they have 3 minutes in between. That part's really nice. We didn't change that part.
Mhm.
But they can check them in between classes and then once they get to the next classroom, put it in there. And some people use it as attendance, so they have a number next to their name, or some people just have it where you just seems to be going pretty well.
Any concerns about teacher enforcement? No?
Nope, I've been around and made it pretty clear that it's everybody and everywhere.
Okay.
Even one of the rooms where, we're gonna use them a little bit more, and again, teachers have the right to allow kids to use them, would be our media one. I mean, I've walked in there every time and they're up there. If it needs it, they go back and say, hey, can I use this to upload this? But and that would be a class where we'll use them a little bit more for the picture quality stuff, but videotaping, but and even Gen Tech, there, boys do some video editing in Gen Tech because you kind of do some studying, and they were doing some trick shot stuff because we had some kids do that years ago. Was that Mr. Baker? But a while ago, then, and they were in there, and I know that darn well that they asked, hey, can we use our phone to videotape it because it's better than most of the camcorders Mr. Carey's got at this point. Let's just ask. Just be a little more.
Any other questions or?
Yeah, just could you, maybe general overarching themes or strong points out of or whoever was there, out of the speaker that you brought in?
I actually had to go to play football that night. From what I heard, Jake Moll was fantastic.
It was great.
It sounded like turnout was fantastic.
I loved it.
I think it was really, really good. It was a good
My
crowd.
son argued about staying and did not stay, but then went home and started reading the book and then came back early and said, I wish I would have been here the whole time. And then said, can I do this for my forensics? So he, from a high school kid, he loved it. I thought he did a great job of like tying in the dialogue of the book, but then also just helping understand ways you can monitor and things you should be thinking about from the viewing parent. He didn't take the stand of like, you cannot have it because that's not the world we live in, but how can we help our students and kids understand how to use it safely and responsibly, and how can you lead those discussions as a family member? So it's not like, do you use AI, but like, have you ever heard of this? And I think Eli at one point read the question and was like, you actually ask somebody that, they're gonna think you're old. Like you're like explaining to them you're not tech savvy, but like just ways that parents could phrase things to like try and hear a little bit more about what their kids know or what they're using, and then start the conversation openly and honestly that way. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I heard really good things. I stayed for about a half hour that.
Thanks for bringing that. I wish we could have gone, but I didn't make it. We did buy the book though. And it's overwhelmingly important, feels like.
And his definitely like started the conversation by the book, but then he added a lot more kind of other areas of discussion to it. And again, just like, not that you can't do it, but if you're going to do it, here's how to help guide.
Well, I just want to thank you, and Christy, I know you went to a handful of those meetings.
I went to very, very few. It just, my schedule conflicted.
Yeah.
I think I went
Well,
to two.
I'm still gonna give you credit.
Yeah.
Well, and thanks to everyone who was in that committee, that I know you put together some really nice handouts about, safe use.
Danny Robb and Chris McCoy really did a great job putting
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I remember you showing us those, and then, came away with a policy that's being implemented. It seems to be working, so that's great. Great. Well, thank you.
We will table the next section. There was not a policy committee meeting, so there'll be no first reading
Okay.
this month.
Need a motion to table and vote.
It's not an action item, so we're okay.
Fair enough. Perfect. All right. Next is just building administrator report on the start of the school year.
Mr. Dahl, you want to start the elementary?
Sure, it was a very smooth opening. Things went really well. Even traffic and stuff was good. I heard all kinds of stuff about that before I started, about the traffic and stuff. We are holding the bikers back like 10 minutes so that the buses can leave and then the bikers can go because they go up Front Street. Some of them go through that stop sign. And I guess the first couple of days we almost had one get hit by the bus. So then I just said, let's just hold it back and then they can go. That's what we're doing. We have a full staff. So that's great. Everybody's hired and there. Shelby told me we have 382 students at the elementary right now. With pre-K through 5. And back to school night was very well attended. To meet a lot of parents and grandparents and all the kids and stuff. So it was a good opening. Riding the good wave, hope it keeps going.
Thank you. Middle high?
So, Matt and I before school started, we went around and wrote notes or messages on everybody's whiteboards. And I think that I knew we were really strong with connecting, but when the first thing I thought to write on every one of staff members' boards was something around the connecting that they do with students on a daily basis, it just reminded me that's what makes us very unique is how we connect with our students. So going in and out of classrooms many times last week and today, I saw it starting day 1 and in the first week of just that right away trying to get to know you activities. Our homeroom we took the first week to get those smaller classes and just not just names, but these, especially the new 6th graders. What about you? Like, what do you want to share? All these different games and different things to get kids to open up. And it just reminded me of those notes that we were writing on boards and how we really strive to connect with them. So I love seeing that day 1. And I just think when we can connect, it's going to help us throughout the entire year. So that was the biggest thing that I saw. The other thing is just getting the students comfortable in the building, or our new staff or our new assistants, just trying to keep being visible and being open for conversations and helping just so kids are comfortable. We know 6th grade, it's all new for everybody. And so we're extra willing to help and go walk them here and just be on the lookout for what we can do to help support them. But I think I have a 7th grader, so I kind of see it in that way too. We kind of assume that, oh, you were here last year, you know where everything is. But actually, I think they're kind of living in their own little world down in the 6th grade hallway. So recognizing that, asking kids in the hallway, do you know where you're going? Do you know what you need? And they're new teachers, so for them. So even though they knew who they were, those routines, procedures are all new to those 7th graders. A little bit easier for the 8th grade because they've had all these teachers now. But just really trying to get kids to feel comfortable in the building and being there to support them when they kind of look lost or they're like, oh no, I went to the wrong. We got you. Which all goes back to the connections that we're trying to keep building with them. And then, like I said, being in the classrooms, the routines that are being established on day 1 and how those routines just keep being built. It's been a really great first week.
I would echo those. Really great first week. It's great to have a staff that cares so much about kids. See it. The new people that we hired, great. Students are awesome as usual. It's fun to have everybody back. A little lonely in the summer around here. But it's been such a great week. The first day was awesome to hear the clubs speak and stuff. Got those starting up with a new robotics community club that some kids are adding in. So that's really kind of cool too. That'll actually be a Dodgeville and Mineral Point community club. Some of the stipulations, it's actually easier to be a community than it is a school club because it's cross schools. They're going to do it as a community organization and we'll help support them that way. Really, really cool to have that though. got some other kids that are trying to brainstorm some ideas of plans that they'd like to add and whatnot. Awesome. And then we started our first, we call it point forward lessons or the life block lesson. We had our first one today on goal setting, so that went really well. And then we actually will start a new kind of advisory change on Wednesday where we're going to start scheduling students into the advisories where they need help. We have a new kind of attendance thing that we'll try out here, see how that works. Hopefully trying to get that list and reduce that number of assignments or anything like that, catching it a little earlier and not getting to the end of the quarter and trying to get 50 things done, but we'll actually schedule them out here. For that, but it should be interesting. Have some pickups. I think it'll be a really good thing.
Is there a place online where parents can find like middle school and high school activities if their student needs help getting involved?
There's a list. I am working on actually Dr. Dunn had reached out to me about this too. We're gonna work on a little bit of a short video type thing to kind of introduce them. We actually want to use that kind of at our intro next year. But there is a list and I'm compiling the information from them. It's got their motto, who the officers are, who the advisor is, and that will be getting put on there. I'm still working on a few of some organizations to get some information. I do have a list. Explain a little bit more too.
And people can find the link, the current list in the handbook. Is that accurate? To
There is
anything?
that link in the handbook. Working on this and hopefully we'll put it underneath the students.
Go to the
Working on trying to
website,
get
and there's a
more
list.
Any feedback on the handbook? Okay.
It's either awesome or nobody read it.
I'm gonna go with awesome.
This is the collated one, right? Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. We have one action item, approval of the district seclusion and restraint report.
Every year, school board needs to approve this report at the September board meeting because it needs to be to the DPI at the first part of October prior to the October board meeting. So you should have in your packet a copy of that report that was put together. Angie put it together. Last year, our numbers were 0 through all 3 buildings. There's zeros again this year based on last year's information. So no incidents of seclusion, no incidents of restraint in any of the 3 buildings. So we just need to present this information to you and ask that you approve it. If you have any questions, you can certainly ask Angie, but the information is positive that we didn't have any of these things.
What's just for informational purposes, how do we define seclusion and restraint? What would that mean?
Ask Angie to give you that definition.
The state gives you a definition. Exclusion is like withholding a student and not allowing them to leave a room. At its very core, there's some more descriptors about that. And then restraint is limiting their mobility. You are restricting their movement and not allowing them to move freely. And so we have multiple staff trained. I'm trained to train our staff on what those are and then all the de-escalation techniques that prevent us from getting to the area of seclusion and restraint.
So seclusion, like detention, doesn't count as
No, it's
seclusion.
like-
This is like in a room,
Like
getting
we
everybody
are-
out.
Yeah, like they are trying to leave the room and we are not allowing them to leave
Okay.
a room and,
Cool.
we don't have any seclusion rooms. There's a lot of rules about what a seclusion room is, like it can't have a locked door, it has to have a window, all of these other things. We don't have any of those. But if we were to like forcibly block a person from leaving a classroom when all the other students are out of the classroom, we weren't letting them join their class, that's seclusion and we don't do that.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And that's why it gets reported.
Yes.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a pattern in history where those have been practices used in the past or overly used in the past. And so now there is if we were to restrain a student, there's forms, you have to notify parents, there's a report that gets written within 24 hours. Like, there's a whole process and procedure about what that is so that we can notify people in a timely manner. But there's a lot of training also that goes into the preventative part of that.
Good. It's really helpful. Thanks.
So I would ask that you approve the report as presented.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Supervisor Johnston, any further discussion? Okay, Angie?
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to board business. First thing is that we're meeting with the this year's staff reps next Monday at this time, and meeting will be at the elementary school, right?
Elementary school library, correct?
Okay. And we go in the upper library door by the gym?
Yeah.
Is that how we'd enter?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a somewhat revised, updated list from last year. There'll be a few new faces. And Rachel has graciously basically agreed to kind of take on this project as kind of the staff rep board lead, I guess. So she'll facilitate the meetings
Thanks, Rachel.
and work on the agenda. And
That's great.
so, yeah, big thanks. And then you guys probably saw I sent a staff email out, like a welcome back staff email. I think it went out.
Did that go out?
Yeah,
that was
it
my
went out,
question.
I think, late last week, referencing the staff reps in the upcoming meeting, all that. Good. The other thing was regarding strategic planning. Just for people listening, we met with, on the 25th of August, as it states in the minutes, we met with Troy and Alyssa from the Southwest Regional Planning Commission. They had done 3 community forum information gathering sessions at City Hall back in March, and gathering input on multiple categories in the city, one of which was opinions on the school. So they shared the community feedback on the school from those events, which was helpful. And then they also met with the juniors and seniors last year and asked them, what they liked about the school, what they didn't like, room for improvement. So they shared with us some data from that as well, which is helping us kind of form our vision for the future on how we want to make the district better. Troy also shared just kind of a data warehouse that he's putting together that gathers DPI data from all the different school districts, so that we can not only look at our own district and see how we're doing in terms of different data benchmarks from DPI, but also compare ourselves to other districts and use that as we see fit to help us make good decisions for the district. So as far as I know, that data warehouse is kind of in like a beta mode right now. I don't think it's like universally available to the public, but hopefully will be soon. But he was soliciting feedback on it.
I think I could access it.
I think he gave us the link to it.
Yeah, no, I think it's public. But they're just building out the site a little better.
Okay.
But that would be at, what's their organization called again?
The Southwest Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, let me look.
And this last thing we talked about was just the growth of AI in education and in other jobs, careers, and what role can we play as a school district to be at the forefront of how use of AI is influencing education and getting our kids as prepared as possible for a future that will undoubtedly involve the use of AI, whether it's ag business or finances or healthcare or, you know, being a teacher or law enforcement, you name it, there's going to be some use of AI. So we are planning a second, like a follow-up meeting, which will be on the 29th. And someone from CISA is going to come and give a presentation on, they are putting together resources on training staff how to use AI, and also guidelines to help students use AI. So she's going to give us an overview of what they're working on there. And then Troy had recommended one of his coworkers at the Southwest Regional Planning Commission, who's kind of their AI, I think her title's like resiliency coordinator or something like that. And she's gonna, they offer like a 3-hour workshop on AI for a small fee. So she's gonna come and just talk about what they have put together and just give her perspective on it. So that'll be the crux of that meeting. That should be really interesting.
Yeah, because for the board members that weren't, I couldn't find it actually, so I think it must be in beta mode.
Okay.
That information, you could basically compare every town in their area on all of the statistics that are publicly available. They're putting it all into one place, so you could look at the school, like housing, all of this stuff. It was really interesting. And you know, there was some advice came out of the meeting. And I think I had my other notebook, unfortunately, at that. But one of the things was to really focus on what you're good at. Was this one piece of advice?
Yeah. Why are we different?
Why is Mineral Point different as a school district? The open enrollment was going to be critical because they're going to continue to see downward trends in population in the area. So we're going to have to compete. So to be able to articulate, that's ironic. What we're strong at. Was there another one?
Don't be afraid to compete. Just like
Yeah.
own the fact that with open enrollment, this is a competitive environment,
Right.
and don't be afraid to tout what we're good at, like you said.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of discussion over having people in the school district that are like forward thinking about the future. Like 5-10 years from now, like what is the future of education? What do these kids need 5-10 years from now? And how can we best plan for that? And maybe seek out staff, students, administrators that kind of are of that mindset and really empower them and create an infrastructure for those ideas to be shared and discussed and even implemented. So I think that'll potentially be part of our strategic plan, is looking towards the future and mobilizing, taking advantage of our current staff that maybe could help us to that advantage.
There was just a consensus among the board members that were there that we could potentially be training kids. These kids are seniors, juniors that are thinking like, oh, I want to be a graphic designer. That it's a career that's going to be entirely in a year won't exist anymore because it'll be all AI, because you'll speak into the microphone and say, give me, you know, a picture of a cat wearing a Mineral Point t-shirt eating a taco, and it's just kaboom, it's there. So and I found a list of like 30 careers. Bookkeeping was one of them, which I was, you know, it makes sense, but that's a good career that won't, you know, potentially won't be available. Because you'll just feed all this stuff into a chat bot and it'll spit it back out. So we don't want to be training kids for stuff that's not going to exist. So that's sort of a thought, and really why maybe this impetus behind the AI came up. Like, let's start talking about this and get some teachers trained. And there was this idea, which I've now since the meeting seen in a couple places, is it's not AI will replace a lot of jobs, but if you know how to use AI and you like that job, then you won't get replaced. Like, you know, if you're a bookkeeper and you're really good with AI, like then you'll be able to keep your employment in that area. Then, you know, I thought Troy did a nice job. We were making fun of Mitch about something about writing the graduation speech or whatever it was. And Troy's like, well, you shouldn't, there's a humanist aspect to all of this too, that we don't want to lose touch with. There's things that you just really like to do and you like to do them by hand. You should do that if that's what you enjoy doing. But,
And if you want to create something that's really your
Yeah.
thoughts and,
Yeah.
and you making
and
it,
write a
you know,
poem and like all of these things.
We
And I
should-
think it's incredibly
Notice that.
important that we train kids to still be human and explore their humanness while we're teaching them about AI. Otherwise, we're just creating robots, you know, and that's not interesting. Like we need to create good human beings that are going to be valuable, ethical members of society. So it's a, you know, it's a tough problem, but that's why we're here.
Sure, yeah, it's pretty good discussion. So to be continued on the 29th. Okay, that was all I had for board business. Do you guys want to add anything? Well, I just wanted to highlight, since we're talking about daycare and stuff like that, Mitch and I are meeting with the city administrator and chamber this month. And that'll be on the agenda. It's like, what is the status of community-wide daycare and so I'll report out after that.
Great. We're gonna have that on the agenda for the October operations committee, so that would be useful. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. So that would be helpful. That meeting is gonna be online. It'll be a Zoom meeting, so anybody can attend that way.
Okay, anyone else have anything for board business? Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, 6:47.